What's up? It's your boy Carson on here, and let's talk about it. Let's go into the beef between. Not even beef. What am I talking about? This is just a sick situation with R Kelly and Aaliyah. Now, this one I don't like talking about. I don't like dealing with this situation, but it needs to be told. Before you talk about Aaliyah and R. Kelly, you have to go back even further to the beginning. Now, R. Kelly is coming out with his new group called Public Announcement after disbanding MGM, his first group. Now, while they're doing this, they're recording down at Trax Studio. It's called Chicago Trax with the TRAX. They're at the Trax Studio. And while they're at the studio, one of the ladies that work there, while they're up there recording, she just works in the building in which they record at. So I don't think she works for Trax Studio. Her daughter, whose name is Tiffany, lives on our block. They live just houses down. I knew her and I knew Tiffany's older sister. Now, they went, the mother told them that I could take you guys to meet R. Kelly. And at this time, he was working on 12 Play, I believe, at this time. He was working on his solo album, 12 Play. And so they were excited, the sisters, they get to go down there and see R. Kelly. So she was like really excited that they went down there and met R. Kelly. So she told people about it, I went down to my mom's job. You're on the block, everybody's outside, and she's telling people that she went and met R. Kelly and her mother's job, and we so we really weren't into the R. Kelly vibe at that time. Oh yeah, I've seen him on TV with that Public Announcement thing. Only when 12 Play came out did people really this is the R. Kelly. So this first wave was we care more about if you met some athlete at the time. So she never really brought anything up, and one day, it was late at night. It wasn't really that late. It's about maybe 10. Everybody's going in the house because it's definitely time to go home. And we still on the block. And she comes down there to me. She's the last one to leave. And then she told me, she said, I'm working on an album with R. Kelly. I'm like, you are? She's like, yeah, I'm finna work on this album with R. Kelly. We've been recording music together and all this stuff, but I can't tell nobody. He told me don't tell nobody, so I'm trusting you not to tell anybody. Now, this is a 15-year-old girl. I'm older than her. It's a 15-year-old girl. And she had this cassette tape. And she was playing the tape. And she's like, listen to this song. She's like, yeah, this is going to be I'm working on my album, and it's going to come out he's finna sit in a limo for me. Because all in my head, I'm thinking she's making all this up. All while she's talking. I'm not believing any of it. And she was like, I'm finna go in a limo. He's finna send a limo to pick me up. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting outside on the corner. And I was just like, Okay. Well, alright, well, yeah, I won't tell nobody about it. And I'm like, yeah, right. And then I happened to look out my window. And I could see down the block. And I saw her get into a limo. And I said, Tiffany's getting in a limo. The limo door closed. She went off. And that was one of the last times I had seen her at that time before everything broke out. Now, eventually her mother found out about it, became very livid because Tiffany grades was slipping and she was like a freshman at High Park High School. And her grades slipped. She started doing drugs. And she wasn't the same hostile, just wasn't the same Tiffany everybody knew. And her own older sister, for what I know, didn't know what was happening to her. So it was a bad situation. And it was in the reports that, of course, he forced her to have sex with other partners and all this other stuff, and it was bad. And in the neighborhood, we're hearing all these different stories. And it's like, wow, like this really happened? Like, this is crazy. The girl lives a couple of doors from me, a couple of houses down. But you don't go down there and start asking questions. So she wasn't really coming outside during none of these, times. Like, I didn't even see them. Her and her older sister, I really rarely saw any of them anymore during this melee. But they had broken up, and while they did that, all of a sudden there was another person came in, and I'm hearing the songs on the radio from this girl named Aaliyah, who had these songs written with R Kelly. And the songs I'm hearing, I'm like, whoa, I've heard these before. This is the tape of the songs that he was working on with Tiffany. He just gave them to Aaliyah. Wow. Unbelievable. And they were gonna play the same thing, like all this, like, I'm not gonna say like the whole album he had worked out already, but creativity, what he was looking at, the young teenage look, the rebellion, there was like a gap in that area that he wanted to fill with like a female, like hip hop, R&B-ish type style, which he basically gave to Aaliyah. That style of hers that everybody fell in love with. She had the like skull cap with the Mickey Mouse and the blue jeans. She didn't dress like girls dress. She dressed like a hip hop girl, like an East Coast B-boy style, B-girl style rather. So, and a girl like that don't normally sing R&B, but today they do. Now, going back to the time when he was with Tiffany, now allegedly Barry Hankerson had took him to Detroit back in like 91, 92 to meet up with Aaliyah for the first time and said, this is Aaliyah, listen to her, we're going to try to get her a deal, get her signed. And at the time, R. Kelly was working with his thing, and he was like, yeah, she's nice. Like, she does have a voice, but Aaliyah was so star-driven and wanted to make it so bad that she often did things, and the parents would let it go. They trusted R. Kelly, with their daughter when they sent her out there. And he was like, we're going to put her up in a room and all this stuff. And Barry, because Barry's family, who's R. Kelly's manager, Barry Hankerson, that's Aaliyah's cousin. They're like, okay, we're going to trust Barry, and we don't trust R. Kelly with our daughter. At least he can help turn her into a star or do something more for her career, because the pool that they had was basically talent shows, Star Search, talking to record label. They didn't have the business acumen to really, or the power range to even go that far. Barry was their best hope. So she was all excited, and they're working in the studios and track studio, and she really lured him. Like, she loved him so much. And it was crazy. It was crazy. She wanted a big record deal, and he saw the potential in her, but she conducted herself as an older person. She would tell people she was 18, or she wouldn't talk about her age and all this stuff, and she acted older. But did R. Kelly know she was 15? Absolutely. He knew she was 15 years old. Because when he met her, she ain't going to go from 12 to 18. He met her when she was 12. And was like, yeah, this is the 12-year-old prodigy. He was like, shoot, you ready to shock the world. This is at 12. And she was a singing sensation, so he's been knowing her since she was 12. So it wasn't like when she arrived on the scene, that she was looking like the way she was when she dropped the album. He met her when she was 12. He knew she wasn't 18. And the age ain't nothing but a number thing is what she used to tell him when she wanted to get up. Well, age ain't nothing but a number. When they was talking about taking another step into getting married. And he was like, I look crazy. It'd make me look crazy if I was to go ahead and get married. And she was like, well, you want me, we gotta be married. She played that situation because she was in love with R. Kelly. Like lust. Like R. Kelly's a genius, everything he does, all the power he had, and she wanted to be a success and a hit. And when the album dropped and it's doing all this success, she wants to stay with R. Kelly. Like, she was really like I'm in love. And this is real love, and people can't put an age on this because she always hung out with older people. And in this business, she was hanging out with people that's 10 times her age, like people are in their 29, almost 30 years of age, or 26, and this is a 15, 16-year-old girl. That 10 years makes a difference. And they didn't seem to understand that, so it became a more bigger problem when once the parents found out. Because Barry, the manager, found out, he went insane. He was at a Bennigan's restaurant, and I know because my uncle was the manager there. And they had a shouting match. My uncle had to go over there and tell them they're gonna have to move that to the booth, up to the other booth, or take it outside because it was getting too loud. And he was, "Are you stupid? You stupid!" This is right after he married Aaliyah. They were eating their Bennigan's that's in Rosemont. And that's where they got married at, Rosemont, Illinois. And he's like, "What are you doing? Are you this stupid?" And he was like, "Man, I'm in love." He was like, "Man, she's a 15-year-old girl. Then you had a lie on the marriage certificate. You gonna go to jail? Are you stupid?" And he's just sitting there with his head down. His manager's going off because now her parents. He's like, "What about her parents? What you think they gonna say when they find out about it?" And then he's like, "We gotta go down there and meet them." So we're gonna go over there and meet the parents and tell them. So they wanted R. Kelly to not have anything to do with Aaliyah no more. They really blew up. The dad tried to fight R. Kelly, and R. Kelly didn't even try to fight. He just had his head down and all this stuff. Oh yeah, all this alleged, by the way. Let me just put that out there, a disclaimer. Everything you're hearing in this video is not true. I guess it's from my imagination. So, alright, now we'll continue. Now, they get to the house. They're in Michigan, and they tell the dad, she tells the dad, "Dad, we got married. We're in love." The dad just tried to kill him right off of the site. Then he was like, "We trusted you." And Barry was in a high speed seat, and this is what Barry feared, because they put their daughter in Barry's hands. And it was like, "You let this man marry our daughter, like you ain't family no more. Don't even think of coming to my house. Don't come here, nothing." And say, "You know what? We gonna move on. She's on the label. We'll let her go." And they like, "You manipulated our daughter. She's a 15-year-old girl. Of course she's gonna think she's in love, but you're an adult. You should know better." And y'all don't understand. It's true love. Like, we really love each other. See, age ain't got nothing to do with it. And the mother wanted to just stab him with a knife. She just couldn't believe what she was hearing out of his mouth. And she forbidden Aaliyah from being with him. Period. And they threatened to have R. Kelly locked up. They said, "Look, we ain't want to destroy your career. We don't even want this to go public. Whatever this is, stop it now. Go in there and get this marriage thing known, and y'all are not to see each other again. If we see each other again, we're going to go to authorities. We're going to have you arrested for rape, for statutory rape. You marrying our daughter is living proof. All we want you to do is stay the hell away from our daughter." So R. Kelly left. He went to the hotel by himself and go with Aaliyah. Aaliyah snuck out, ran off, talking about, "I'm going to be with my husband." And then R. Kelly told her, "Go back to the house." And he was like, "I'm going to respect y'all wishes. I'm hard broke, but I'm going to respect y'all wishes. Y'all need to come get her." She came over here. "I'm calling so y'all can come get her." And he was like, "Go on back home. Go on be with them." And she was just like, "You my husband and you ain't going to fight for me?" He was like, "You don't understand. You don't understand. They'll put me in jail. When you hit 17, you'll be old enough to get married. That's just another 2 years. So just wait. We'll just go ahead and get married." So Barry convinces the family at this point to let him go ahead and still work with Aaliyah, because he got her signed to his label. you know, and he the uncle, so he got to look out. So he take Aaliyah and his label away from Jive, where R. Kelly was, and they do a distribution deal over with Atlantic Records. And was like, we're gonna move her album over there. All her songs are working with these new producers I got on the label. With Missy, Elliott, and Timbaland. They worked with what she already had, and they put together, of course, what was Magic. One in a Million was one of the few albums that they had in which it was a slow takeoff. No one foreseen what that album was gonna do. It was kind of released with like, you know, like no type of real buzz behind it. You know, the allegations, everything was starting to come out about her and R. Kelly at the time, and that they had a big breakup, and people were finding out that they were married, and were they married, and then all of a sudden, here comes the album, comes out right around the time the controversy's like fresh out there. So once the controversy hits and then the album comes out, while they were making the album, she was still in love with R. Kelly. Still in love with him. And still like, I'm married, and still wouldn't take her ring off. You know, she was so defiant that even in her pictures that she was taking, she was showing that, like, I'm still married, you know, like, I still got the ring. And it was like, why is Aaliyah wearing this wedding ring? Well, it looks like to be a wedding ring on her hand. And when R. Kelly announced that he was getting married, because it just came out of nowhere that he married the former dancer when he married Andrea, that was it. I mean, it was like the shock of an hour, because it came out of nowhere. It was like, and R. Kelly has married Andrea Danielle Lee. We were like, huh? Like, where did that come from? And they got married in 06. And wow, it was devastating, because he was married and was legally married to Aaliyah at the same time. This is what people don't know. The city of Chicago had egg on their face because they allowed this to go through, because he got married real late at night. And when he got married real late at night, hold on, I'm checking something out here. When he got married real late at night, everybody's sitting there going crazy about it. And people are freaking out. Because Aaliyah was crushed. And they're trying to, this is like when her album came out. You know, and this is going on. R. Kelly's married now, and here she comes with her album, and then you got two marriages at the same time. And people didn't know they were still married. And they had to force, Chicago, Illinois was trying to say, well, the marriage didn't take place because she lied. You know, so this thing needs to be just annulled and taken care of. And it took like 3 years for them to get it annulled. And her parents is like, this thing should have been taken care of and gotten annulled. So, you know, everybody was kind of weirded out about the marriage, and it's like, wait a minute, Now this thing should have been annulled in the first year. Like, why did it take so long? But it didn't get finalized until 2007. I mean, not 2007, but 1997. Because Chicago, like I said, they had egg on their face. And when you have egg on your face like that, David Orr's a former mayor of this city. When Harold Washington had a heart attack and passed away, and he became mayor, and then he got the job of Cook County. You're a former mayor and you're signing off on this? Nobody checked, nobody did anything. It's a sad situation when that's allowed. So the city was trying to say, well, it's not our fault, but the Cook County, because Rosemont, Illinois, is in Cook County, it's the county's fault, which is under the city of Chicago, same county. So now it makes Chicago looks bad. So if the look of it is bad, then it must be bad. So something has to happen. Because other words, you got a guy that's basically married twice, 2 times, and the first one is not even complete. It's not even annulled yet. Because of his legendary status, they bypassed anything that was remotely close to professional. No proof was shown of any kind. It was just, this is what date she said she was. This is how old she is. Let's get the marriage license. They pushed everything through. Shows you what money can do, doesn't it? And from that, we all know what happened. R Kelly, after that, became still one of the biggest selling artists in the world. Unfortunately, Aaliyah passed away in 2001 in a plane crash. But she had to grow out of being in love with R Kelly and move on, because that was her first real love. And from what she thought was love. So that's it. I'm done with this situation.